first game, as Kwangdong, you can kind of like leave it up, let it go. After this one, you're like, no, okay, they know how to play it, and let's not do that again.
Yeah, very curious to see how the pick ban will change after all this. The LeBlanc first ban again, so that's 3 games in a row. Fate is just not going to be able to get his hands on that champion, so I think it's a pretty good idea. I think that Fate is a great player in general. I think that you want to take him off his best pick if possible. At the moment, I would say. It's Corki also going to be a ban here.
And the Corki ban from Kwangdong here is really interesting, right? Because to me, that signals that, unsurprisingly, they would go, or would prefer to go, for a Twisted Fate themselves. I do think that DRX is going to ban that one away. I don't think they're going to let that up. And another thing that we didn't really get to talk about, but that I really want to highlight as the TF does get banned away, is that I hope that Kwangdong drop their Volibear priority. If you think that pick is too strong, ban it away. But Elim on Volibear between Elim on Xin was like a world of difference. It wasn't even remotely close. On the Xin, his choices of skirmishes and his overall play on the map was so much more confident, looked so much better. Now, of course, it was also a Volibear from behind, which is a miserable experience. That's very interesting. Banning the Hecarim here on blue side.
The Rise gets through for the first time in this best of 5.
It's got to be the one, surely, especially on B1.
Yeah, seems pretty, straightforward. Fate can obviously play this. I think any mid laner at this point can play this pick, and it's extremely flexible, offers you a lot of early game playmaking potential. It's just a good champion right now in the meta, so they will pick that one up. We haven't really seen too much Ahri, or we haven't seen any Ahri tonight. Not picked, not banned. Nobody wanting to pick that up here. As thinking about the Rakan.
Sire Rakan would be kind of a, I want to say continuation of the draft that DRX has shown us thus far, but no, going to prioritize the vehicle here for Pioshik. Over the Volibear, over the Xin. As mentioned, I expect the Volibear to be locked in here. I think that the early game power of the pick, the 2v2 with the Rise, is going to be insanely powerful. It's more about Elim's level of comfort after seeing that game number 1. Wasn't hugely convinced, and Nautilus are going to be a surprise. I think Hoyd has been the one of the shining lights throughout every single series, has just been incredibly consistent. This was, of course, also the pick that started off the current age of Kwangdong as they found more and more and more and more wins. Lee priority here is interesting, but I do think Lee obviously still in a great position. Has a lot of innate win conditions, as I think it's a big risk picking Akali into Rise. Expected to be for Zeka, of course. Flex potential is there, but the lockdown, the fact that Lee Sin is already in the game as well, I don't know if that's enough to trump the comfort, and instead it's going to be the blind Xayah again, and DRX, just ban the MF. That's all I'm asking. There we go.
There it is. The MF does get banned here in game number 3, so we're learning, at least on that pick. So no MF this time around, and it's Xayah Rakan as well, so you're going to have some really nice synergy, obviously, between those two. So don't mind it as much in that case, in the blind sense. And the Galio will be banned away here. Galio definitely a pick that can respond to some of Rise's roams pretty nicely.
That has been the main thing. Also, as he gets a little bit further into the game, is able to, at least to a certain extent, match the wave and the shove that Rise is available, although early levels, that is, of course, still going to be heavily favored toward the Rise himself. And with this Jace ban here, obviously DRX looking themselves to an R5 counter pick for King in here. Kali is going to get banned away after all, and I feel like an Orianna might be one of the more well-rounded and team fight-oriented picks into the Rise that we've seen a lot. Works really well with the Rakan as well, obviously. That's a completely different approach. One I like, nonetheless. This is a composition, especially with the Rise already locked in, the Jace being bent away. It's going to be hard to punish because this comp from DRX. Oh no, don't.
You're just keeping everybody at a distance with the event horizon, essentially.
I guess if it's AP Kai'Sa, it's a little better.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm hoping that we're going to see, or at the very least hybrid.
I actually think it would be pretty nice, just in the AP sense, right?
Yeah, okay, if it's AP, then I initially, my mind still goes to the AD Kai'Sa, where it's a please no, please don't do that. And Jinx has dropped so much in priority here. I honestly, I wouldn't mind the Kai'Sa. The problem with Kai'Sa, of course, is that your AP profile would be way too heavy, and the Jinx is going to provide you with what was one of the strongest AD carries. Still is strong, but teams have gotten better and better at dealing with it. And honestly, specifically, I'd say it started with this Xayah.
It definitely did, and here is the counter pick potential for Kingen. He knows he's playing into the Gragas. Aatrox is going to be the lock-in. This is something we've been seeing a lot more recently, to some pretty good success. I'm excited to see what Kingen can do.
Key thing here is that the DRX composition has a relative lack of range, but they augment that by having so much hard engage, so much power. Kingen gets fed. Game becomes effectively unplayable for most players on Kwangdong. Event Horizon is an absurdly strong skill into anyone besides the Jinx.
You can be caught by anyone.
Yeah.
All 5 members have a way to catch you and punish you, essentially, and follow up really nicely on each other.
The only downside is that if we get to the late game, I don't think there's an answer for Jinx. I think that in that scenario, unless Barrow can find a really good engage, actually dealing with this extremely long-range AD carry is going to be excruciatingly hard. But this does feel a little bit reminiscent of game number 2, where it's whoever gets the lead, it's going to kind of run over the enemy team, right? Because look at the Kwangdong comp as well. With Rise, able to get side lane pressure, set up dives. Gragas obviously is really good for both engage, disengage. His composition has a lot of team fighting power, and if Jinx gets excited, you can win any team fight. But if you fall behind, you don't do a lot, and you don't do damage, and you don't do anything, and Aatrox is unkillable. We've seen it happen before. For DRX,
yep.
It's effectively the same story.
Definitely could happen here. Let's see how we go on to the Rift here for game number 3 of playoffs round 1. Of course, if you guys missed it yesterday, Dalmon Kia was able to 3-0 Fredda Brion in essentially the rematch, because Fredda Brion had to 2-0 them to even make playoffs. That was pretty quick and easy. This one, not so much. A very different taste of League of Legends here tonight.
That it is, Feldas. That it is.
Yeah, we're looking to hit all the pallets, trying to make everybody happy, essentially. And so far, Kwangdong Freaks and DRX have brought us some great action here in this series. And you would have to imagine that after watching even the first couple of games, whoever wins this series has to play against T1. Because I would assume that T1 would choose either of these teams over a Damwon that looks a lot stronger nowadays.
Yeah, I agree. From what we've seen, would expect T1 to say, we picked the clearly weaker, more up and down kind of team, because it means that when we get to finals, hopefully, but also expectedly, honestly, with the form of both these two teams, we will be able to keep everything hidden. We can just play it straight, expose the weaknesses of these teams, and not give away things like Damwon already had to, right? Damwon, for the first time in the split, picking up things like the Ziggs that we really hadn't seen at all, and using those to great efficiency. And I feel like that might have also influenced the playoffs meta as a whole, because as of right now, Aphelios has just been completely ignored. Which I'm happy we don't see blind Aphelios anymore. It is a good thing. Yeah.
Feels pretty nice. It kind of makes sense. We were calling for that for a while.
Well, now we have blind Xayah.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta get somewhere. It's a small improvement, but an improvement nonetheless.
Yeah, I'm definitely happier with the blind Xayah, I would say, as Kane's doing some nice stutter stepping. I always love to do this, to be pretty trolly, get into the head of your lane opponent. I'm excited to see his Aatrox. I think his Jace play overall has been pretty strong, even outside of, you know, the whole draft stuff we were talking about. And we also saw a Veigar carry recently. Faker actually picked it up. I believe it was his 73rd unique pick in the LCK. And he had a really nice roam down to the bottom side, and I believe that was against DRX. So Veigar, once again, getting more and more play, and DRX having some recent history against it, so they pick it up themselves.
Like in the matchup, champion, of course, providing so much utility as well.
And he smites, and the Q goes through onto Pioshik, so nice little trade there from Ellum.
It's only going to delay Pioshik, obviously, as he will instead have to path towards top side, but don't expect Ellum to aggressively contest there, especially not with the lack of prio that he has in his top lane. King and just putting down a ward, making sure that that crab stays safe.
Save Krabby is always going to be nice.
Well, I mean, save until Pioshik shows up.
Yeah. Well, you're saving it for your team.
True. True.
King's being very annoying in these trades, especially early on before the Gragas gets too tanky. The Gragas has nice sustain, but the Aatrox can bully him just a bit. It's going to be nice to have Pioshik with some of the scuttle vision and extra deep vision on the top side to make sure he can continue putting on that pressure. And, you know, even though things are relatively slow for this early game once again, wouldn't be surprised if it hits 8 minutes and both teams go to the Rift Herald and we fight again.
Oh, no, 100%. Yeah, that's going to happen. No doubt in my mind. The only question is, are we going to have a fight before that? Is Faye going to use a priority that he should be able to generate a mid lane? Because obviously threatening Zeka is not really something that you're ever going to be able to do in this matchup. But you should definitely be able to try and spread your influence to other lanes. Is Ellum and Pioshik gonna see each other here? Gonna have maybe a little bit of a fight, but I think for Pioshik, especially with a Veigar, just let it go. Back, and he does. Just lets Ellum have this one and leave it at that.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
Zeka just, you know, getting pushed in. Some harass underneath the turret, but as you mentioned, you know, he's not going to be in too much danger. He's just kind of sitting here with this Corrupting Flask. He does have his teleport to get back to lane after this wave on the cannon wave. As the Event Horizon, not quite going to land, but that's just okay. He's just looking for a back.
And even without phase rush, Faye's like, yeah, no, I'm fine. I can walk out of that. If you don't, then that looks very silly. You just die. So. Good knowledge of his limits and the range and time of the Event Horizon there. And crucially, as you pointed out, I do think that Keen, if we get to the latest stages of this matchup and there has been no lead for Kingen, that's when the Gragas can just kind of sustain for everything and should be fine. I think that Keen is also going to go full tank here, as opposed to the build that we saw him previously. But Kingen really, once he gets some AD, once he gets some cooldown reduction, that's when the Aatrox trades really are going to start to wear down, and longer term you're going to be able to get a lot of damage down, as Ellum might look towards a play here on top side. Setup is of course good. Keen has Cask.
Yeah, gonna get that slow already. They're going in onto Kingen. There's the body slam. Cask is good. Kingen in a lot of trouble, still has his flash, but elects not to use it. A clean first blood will be given to Ellum, as DRX and their jungle were on the bottom side taking Infernal Drake.
I think a trade you're not too sad about is DRX. Picking up an early Drake is definitely nice, but Ellum also going to be bolstered in any subsequent fights that he is able to find in the either 1v1, 2v2s, any roams that he might want to undertake together with Fate. Meanwhile, Keen is like, yeah, I have a jungler. What can I do about it? As this is, I think, no matter what the matchup is, always a risk that you run with the Gragas. The setup is just so good. Like, Kick's not even available.
Yeah.
There's just not a lot of counterplay there, unless Kingen goes for the immediate flash the moment that the body slam comes down, but that is also going to feel like a hefty investment. And only half a more minute, Veldus, and then we'll be greeted by absolute mayhem.
We're just chilling out for now, you know, just waiting for the 8-minute mark just to get the fighting going.
It's a no rush 8 minutes, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a little intermission, you know, like after a game like game number 2, you can't just rush back into the action.
Oh,
like that's no.
Oh no.
Got to give the players some time to, you know, cool off, get ready to show a great performance for the fighting after 8 minutes, of course. So you do have the Bramble Vest, by the way, completed here. So Keen, extremely tanky build right from the get-go, just as you were mentioning. As now Elam is on the bottom side. We'll see if he can make some play here. No level 6 yet for Hoyt. And there is a ward in that bottom brush, so it's a little bit difficult. You can see Hoyt is trying to bait this one out, trying to get Beryl to grand entrance in, but Zyra Khan, Beryl can dash to Deft extremely far away, and just does that to safety.
Might be Prio picked up here at the very least, and Hoyt not 6 yet, crucially. So Yoshi gets spotted.
Oh, he's going to land. That's a lot of damage already. The Blast Plant, again, is going to save him, but Elam's still lurking around. He's got some help from the top side. The Gragas over the wall is perfect. Keen gonna land the body slam. Zeka trying to flash away now, as he will be kicked. And where's the damage? Everybody's kiting the turret, and finally Keen says, I will collect. Thank you very much.
What a beautiful roam there from Keen. Setting that one up. Even with the knowledge that that Elam is still hovering around, they're like, no, he can't go. We have the safety. We have the event horizon. But not keeping track of the Gragas. Keen also, I think, should be able to pick up this top side here. Really nice interruption from King, but Keen, yeah, if he can walk it off, if he can proc his passive a few more times, then he should be fine. It's going to be a plate given over. The main question is it going to also be a Rift Herald? Because in that case, trade still good, but might not feel as worth as I see 5 people rotate, so I have my answer. They are definitely getting Herald. Teddy at least should be able to pick up a plate when they read this here, because of course they don't know where the rotation is heading towards, but should spot out soon. Although Deft is going to take the top part. Beryl will get spotted though, and that should be the indignation, or the indication rather that rest of DRX like, yeah, we don't actually have to come. And I think Teddy picked up a single play there. So overall, still DRX close, but definitely behind in gold.
They definitely are, and you can see that they don't have, you know, the full answers on the bottom side. But now they know that they will be safe. They can clean this one up. As let's take a look at the replay here on the play at mid lane.
And this is obviously Pioshik unable to fight back, knowing that he does not win that 1v1.
비에고 이거 베이가 높아요. 나 오케이 잡았어.
Yep. Me? Okay, I'll take it. And yeah, just calling out no flashes and stuff like that, as Rift Herald dropped in the bottom side. But again, it's one of these Rift Heralds where it's like, yeah, I mean, you got to charge, but Deft isn't getting any gold. It's very well responded to by Kwangdong Freaks, as 320 will go to Pioshik.
Now, of course, this is a Kwangdong game, so we gotta be a little bit careful. And it's interesting to say, because that has not been a problem for this team for what feels like the second half of the split, right? It was definitely in the previous splits a very, very iconic, at the time, Freaka thing to get a lead and find the best way to take that lead and throw it away. In this scenario, I do think that unlike game number 2, that did feel a little bit more hit or miss. Right now, Kwangdong's looking very in control, as Keen able to walk that one off just about. Now 2 Drakes, or rather 1 Drake given over to either team. Hextech Soul again here.
Wow.
And that's a big boon for Aatrox. One of the champions that, if he can get backline access, can absolutely wreak havoc. And it's going to be a Bolster the King, and who has not had the greatest laning phase. Not bad. Has a small lead, but got ganked. Not able to get any definitive leads, and Keen got some crucial roams here as well.
Oh, big play down on the bottom side. They're looking for the engage now onto Hoyt and onto Teddy, but the immediate cleanse and flash means that that will not go in. Is the damage enough onto Pioshik here? He will dash away. Teddy still on the chase. Looking for a potential zap as there comes the rocket, and it is going to blast on top of him as Teddy will get the AoE on Barrel.
And this is such a big risk. You know what you're playing into, right? If you don't hunt it to 0, the Jinx, that play might not work out, and Fate with the Realm Warp joining later on there, so you need immediate death on that Jinx, and I don't think you're ever getting that. Veigar, this point in the game, still not the greatest pusher of turrets, and that's first turret blood here for Kwangdong, who are looking to snowball this lead completely out of control.
Yeah, absolutely. They are in a super comfortable spot, as Keen says, thank you. Thank you very much. That's totally fine. Kingen now being chased down. Did he go too deep for this blue buff? Might be the answer here as Hoyt continuing on, but he will not get in range and did not have his ultimate either. So he's going to land here, but Event Horizon is up. And you could say, oh, well, DRX have an Infernal Drake and they have a Veigar and stuff like this. They have some scaling components, but the way this game is going and the lead that Kwangdong Freaks have, and with how well Teddy plays this one out,
yeah,
it's feeling pretty good for them right now.
Cleanses the charm so that he can immediately flash out of the grand entrance. And then with the Realm Warp,
He's calling the kill as he's shooting the rocket. He knows.
splash damage more than enough. Hoyt.
Hoyt's going for a little bit of a walk here.
No, don't do it. No.
Yeah, I think he's going to do it. He does have to flash. And that will be a summoner down now on this engage from the side of Kwangdong.
Nicely done. Setting up these vision traps and keeping Hoyt's engage potential limited. Score still has the Hex Flash, but if that hits, Yoshik might end up biting the dust, but not going to be the case here. And the Kwangdong Freaks that is actually playing around the priority that Rise provides, that is finding kills across the map. It's going to make it very hard for DRX, as mentioned previously. Whichever team gets a lead is going to feel really good. Whichever team falls behind, playing champions like Aatrox, like Veigar, when the enemy team can just straight up run at you and hunt to 0 you, can definitely create some issues as, guys, it's a minute until it's early.
By the way, another blue buff taken away. His Keen is going to take that one down.
I think it was Grump.
Oh, was it Grump?
But
okay.
that's I don't think that's better. I think it hurts more because that's the second one in a row.
Yeah, I guess he still has the blue from before. All your jungle is belong to Keen, including the Rift Scuttler. So he gets that. And yeah, I mean, this is just the thing, like both of these teams really just love the Rift Herald, so they're both going for it even in these positions.
They don't know.
They don't know. Keen is a crouching Gragas, hidden Gragas.
Oh, Zeka's gonna die.
Yeah, Zeka's, he's got Kingen nearby, but you know, the 100% potential is big as a really nice dodge and flash. Zeka, extremely quick response.
Very nicely done. Of course, Keen could have gone for the flash there, then the play would have basically been uncounterable, but doesn't want to invest at Summoner. Actually really agree with that, considering the Drake that's coming up in 40 seconds. That's going to be a big objective here. Surely also up. DRX last time around went for the trade, and looks like Kwangdong might have a first 5v5 here. It's starting, Valdez!
I know! It took a little bit longer this game, but looks like we have begun the show, ladies and gentlemen. As the cast will begin. But a nice little save, and there's the Event Horizon. Keen in a little bit of trouble. Has mostly armor, because he was laning against an Aatrox. But at the same time, Zeka not very fed at this moment in time. So just the catch, and DRX with position on this objective.
Ooh, are they going to keep going?
Zeka wants to back and teleport back in. The Event Horizon is here onto the backside, but take a look at the turn here onto Fate on the left side. They get on top of this Rise, and the stopwatch is what keeps him alive. That is going to be huge, as the turn is not going to be successful here from the Kwangdong Freaks. Or rather from DRX. They're not able to turn here onto Fate and get him down, but Fate pretty low. And Zeka now able to teleport back into the play.
No one has damage! No one is dying! Fate almost has TP.
Kind of feel like I'm commentating baseball right now. Here's the pitch.
In they go.
And strike one.
They get the eye.
Well, you can see he's loading up for the second pitch. And Barrel, he's going to be going in for this one. He will give up his life, and he will only give up his flash. Not his life. And, yeah, he feels like he stole a base there, you know? He's just able to get in, get out, and that's the end of that.
Well, I know nothing about I know nothing about baseball, Veldas. I was just shouting.
It's okay.
stuff.
Good job.
I don't know if I did, but
You know home runs, so that's...
I appreciate the sense. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's
better than most
stable.
Europeans. So.
And on the flip side, Kwangdong Freak's going to be able to pick themselves up the second Drake here. No definitive advantage gained. Obviously, going to give them a little bit more leeway, but unlike soul points, there is no immediate pressure to be gained from this. And we do see an issue that Kwangdong, I think, are going to keep running into, which is that effectively this is a one carry composition, because Fate's damage might be enough to do some, but
형 이거
not
여기
quite
열면 되긴
enough.
하나? 각져줘.
And that's it.
Yep.
Says, I'm going to go get it.
Keen
he
versus
did.
Jungle Cam, or a King and Keen versus Jungle Cam.
Still fighting over that. They're going to give the blue, though, over to Teddy. As this Rift Herald is actually going to get some good value. Pushes into the mid turret, takes it down. 19 minutes into the game.
Thank you, Barrel.
Oh, the Event Horizon, they catch one, and this is what this team does. And Barrel is going to survive on the backside of that. Keen does as well.
This is one of those points where Keen going for the plated steel caps, which in the lane were very valuable, is actually kind of costing him. Sure, he survives here with the rest of his team helping him, but Merc threats into the Vega are actually really, really powerful, and I'm kind of loving. This is something that we often see where teams go and pick up the Vega when they already have either a lot of magic damage or a lot of CC. But if you look at the DRX comp, steel caps, great item. Good into King, good into Pioshik, good into Deft. And a lot of the CC from Barrel, Merc threats doesn't do a whole lot against, right? The Grand Entrance, which is the most notable one, not really going to be negated by Tenacity, so that does mean that these Event Horizons from Zeka are going to have a much bigger impact than they might in some other matchups. As I was saying, as we kind of seen here, is that while the damage for Kwangdong is quite low until Teddy hits what I assume is going to be a fourth item Infinity Edge, looking like a Last Whisper is very likely with the two long...
Spotted. And now Fate, he does have Realm War, but there's just too much damage and too much CC. He doesn't even bother. Down goes Fate, gets caught in the side brush. And I remember, Chronicler, you know, that we had a huge lead for Kwangdong Freaks, at least for the early game, but they weren't able to push it. And now, once again, I mean, you're losing another turret. There's still that one Infernal on the side of DRX. They took out your mid turret. They're controlling vision now, and that's exactly what this comp loves to do. Although, I say that, and immediately now Kingen is the one on the run. He does have to flash. The Aatrox will get away.
I think if Alan plays it a little bit slower and waits a split second so Hoyt can actually chain CC, they might give over a kill to Teddy, who, again, the more fed Teddy gets, the more winnable this game becomes for Kwangdong, right? I do think that they're somewhat reliant on this.
Okay, looking for the engage. That's the charm coming down, hoping that Zeka can burst someone down 100-0, but not quite able to. Elam will survive.
And crucially, Zeka not having that much damage yet. Not sure how much AP, how much stacks he's currently sitting on, but come for the Zeraph's Embrace as well. Not the best item on the Vega. Currently 400 AP. And still pretty far off of his death cap and off other itemization that's really going to bolster his damage. Honestly, I think this would have been a great game for a Deadman's Plate, you know, some Anathema's value. There's a lot of items here that basically make Zeka unkillable because, again, look at the damage profile for Kwangdong. It is just Teddy. That's it.
Yeah, and it's not the first time we've seen this. Just harken back to game number 1 where it felt like they were lacking a little bit of damage. So Fate is originally seen here on this ward.
Yeah, and unfortunately. I think that they were waiting for him to maybe roll more about, because it looks like Pioshik initially didn't want to 100% commit to the play, but see him, and they're like, yeah, that's a freebie. Gonna pick that one up. The amount of damage that they have available is more than enough. And now Lee gone.
That ain't it, Teddy. That ain't it. Welcome to Event Horizon. And I mean, again, all this vision is now being controlled by DRX. They're doing such a good job of it, and it's so difficult. I mean, Teddy's not the one who should be face-checking that, but even if Hoyt does, it's a Veigar. They have so much burst damage.
And we need to see something else from Kwangdong. We need to see them actually going for an engage. We need to see the first kill come through, but instead, they're opting into the split push. They have the opportunity here because, of course, there's no soul threat whatsoever from DRX. This will put a lot more gold into the pockets of Kwangdong, but again, it's on onto the tank rise, right? It's nice. It's not going to feel amazing. And at least Teddy is still ahead. You can see how scared he is, how carefully he needs to navigate around the map, and 4 items would be the breakpoint, I'd say, for Kwangdong. That's where the fact that you only have a single damage dealer, provided that Teddy positions well, which generally he does, will get so much damage done if he can just get a couple of autos off, no matter into who.
Yeah.
But the more I see them, I'm like, DRX's combo just feels way more dependable to me, unless Keen can get a big cask, and they can start off the team fight. It's ironic, because we have Pioshik, but I think Kwangdong is more reliant on getting a first kill, just so Teddy gets excited.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the way that these fights do end up playing out.
Yeah.
And I think that Kwangdong Freaks really need to... I mean, I suppose you could just hang out and wait for your Jinx to get like 6 items, and you're just like, okay, I mean, sure. But at the same time, it's a very relevant soul. There is some pretty good Baron damage on the side of DRX. They don't have a great tank, actually. But, I mean, there's a chance, you know, you can't just give over the entire map and potentially, you know, get picked left and right, which is what it kind of feels like is their position right now.
What I'm upset about is that I was promised mayhem.
Yeah.
25 minutes in.
We cursed it.
And we have 5 kills. That's not it.
It's just the LCK caster way.
Oh.
And, okay, little knock up. His team isn't nearby, and so Beryl is not going to fully commit to any kind of charm or anything like that.
Teddy running back. Might have his little Dominic's done now, and will finish that item.
And I think as Kwangdong Freaks, if you're just going to like sit for people in mid, then potentially, you know, send the Rise at least to do some of that split pushing we saw earlier on, but
they kind of, yeah.
Said they're just death falling.
They've been doing that a little bit. It's just baffling to me that there's no objective right now. So the value in grouping up like this is somewhat negligible.
It's minuscule.
It is minuscule indeed.
It's insignificant.
Also, yes. More synonyms. Kind of thought you
nah, man.
That's it?
Yeah, that's it. That's all I had prepared, actually, for today.
That was
yeah,
crap.
sorry.
Just open a dictionary. I guess it would be a thesaurus. Like, synonyms for minuscule. Or, like, a tiny.
Yeah, and that's the amount of action we're getting right now in this game, actually. We had a lot, I guess, in games 1 and 2, so now it's kind of like, oh, take a little rest. I thought the rest would just be for the beginning of the game, but not the case. As Kings, you know, he's kind of just going in there by himself, trying to clear out some vision. I think if you are going to Deathball, you might want to clear the vision together as well, just to make sure somebody doesn't get picked off. But DRX are going for a back right now, so this is actually a good spot for Kwangdong Freaks to come in and secure some more of the map.
What scares me is that DRX and Kwangdong can both be like, no, we don't want to contest this Drake. We're good. Don't need it. And then we are denied more action. As one team will get Drake, and then the other team will look angrily at Baron, and then decide, no, it's not worth the risk.
Okay, Barrel little engaged now as Barrel is going to bite the dust, but immediately Pyosik does a huge engage though. Keen is going to catch the Xayah. Deft on the flash though, but he still gets taken out. Fate able to get that damage down, but now Kingen is getting in there with Pyosik. They're getting the resets. They are chasing him down the mid lane here as Hoyt is going to also be taken down. As Teddy not really able to put out the damage in that insane fight once again.
Really big. And with that, gold still dead even. Teddy trying to stay back up, but not actually a build that's heavy in lifesteal. Also spotted there. Pyosik on his way, will get seen. And I'm really happy you pointed that out, as we're going to see in the replay. With Teddy immediately getting zoned out of the fight due to the damage that he took, with I think it was a wonderful blade caller there from Deft that really chunked him for as much as it did. This would have been a completely different fight. I mean, it highlights the risk of Kwangdong's composition, because a lot of damage being thrown into Alan. Yes, he dies, but it's also not the really important target. Crucially, Teddy, that blade caller, could have killed him for sure. I think he might be very feeling very happy, very lucky. And this is where you see the value of both Aatrox and the Viego really come in. Kill after kill after kill, just going their way.
And, you know, it's going back to what you said a little bit earlier, Chronicler. One team is going to get the Dragon. The other team is kind of staring at the Baron, but they need to use their binoculars because they can't really get in there, you know.
I was expecting more of the
Realm War play, okay. You're seeing if they can be TF without the TF, as that is going to be the kick coming on in, and Deft is also going to be cast into the fight. Kwangdong Freaks find the insane angle. They're able to pick off one, but it's an extremely important one.
Teddy, able to get the shove in here, gets excited. Now they're moving towards, but don't forget, there is still a jungler here. Pyosik is in the building. King at level 16, has flash, has his ultimate. Insanely strong.
I don't know about this one. I don't know about going for this Baron. They're looking for the turn.
Oh, man.
5v4, you're up against Pyosik and Zeka, but they're not really getting on in there. This is going to be the Baron going away of Kwangdong Freaks. The counter engage does not come in. It's now the stun. Keen may be in a little bit of trouble, but trying to walk it out.
No.
Doesn't seem like he wants to go in there alone, as he will be spotted backing. You still have to back. Okay. Keen is just going to send him on his way out.
That's the angry look I was expecting at Baron. I hope we get a replay of that, because this play starts out looking questionable as Hoyt's like, we got him. Hooks the wall, but crucially it's all a diversion tactic, as the real flank is Keen and Fate making their way into the backline. A truly wonderful, possibly game-winning cask there from Keen, delivering Deft into his team. And now we are looking at Kwangdong with the Baron buff, but of course, still actually walking in range pretty hard here.
Yeah, it's very difficult. You can see that DRX are really trying to use their pick ability with this composition to just play around vision, to deny vision, to get on in there and go for gank rushes, essentially. And Kwangdong Freaks, though, with this Baron, they should be able to push out on the map. Get some position here. Teddy still have to be careful with those feathers. They do a lot of damage. You can see that DRX is, in fact, able to step up and clear some of this at the moment, but Fate has gone to the bottom side. We have moved away from the mid lane.
Other lanes exist.
It's
the legends were true.
Historic moment in the series. You all were here when this happened, when they found out that bottom lane was a part of this map. It's really great to see. Keen, he's fine.
And that's going to be Infinity Edge, and that's the spot. Doesn't want to take the risk. Very good. Why? Why would you leave me? says Blue Buff. Because Teddy actually has a blue buff already, but that one's about to expire. And especially on Jinx is obviously a carry that uses the blue buff extremely well. Infinity Edge now done means that, one, DRX, their health bars are expected to evaporate a whole lot quicker. And secondly, more importantly, highlights even further that it's about Teddy. Do DRX get Teddy? Cool, you win the fight. Does Zeka throw his ultimate into literally anyone else? Doesn't matter. No, it's not actually,
Yeah.
not actually an ultimate. And this is going to be a balancing act from both teams. Guangdong need to control the sides, need to make sure Teddy's safe.
You can see Zeka, he's trying to wave clear, but I mean,
Yeah.
it's only Teddy. It's only Teddy damage.
The fountain laser with 4 protectors.
And I mean, it could be enough here. King is a little bit dangerous, but he's fine. And with the Baron buff finally going down, we will return to our normal scheduled broadcast.
We're going to 6 Drakes, surely.
Seems likely, Chronicler. Seems likely.
Now we can get Soul Flip, we can get Elder Flip.
We haven't had an Elder Flip in this
We
series
haven't?
yet. That's crazy. We need to take that off our bingo cards.
Man, Guangdong DRX bingo is like the best bingo. Oh, it's gotta be, right?
Yeah. I mean, just think of every insane, wacky possibility in the game of League of Legends.
Kill with Comet, had that.
Yeah.
Crazy flanks, had that.
No base race yet.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Sure, we can find a way.
Well, we do have the Hextech Drake coming up here. This will be Soul Point for Guangdong Freaks to tie it up at 3-3 Drakes. The engage here from Points. Got to be careful. Again, you're running straight into Veigar and Xayah. As Beryl says, hello, you know, just passing through.
Don't mind me.
They're going to spot him. He's on a great flank angle, but the damage here onto the Dragon might just be enough. DRX considering the follow-up fight as in goes the charm. The Realm Warp not good enough for Teddy. He gets excited. He's on the backside, and the engage from Keen is just perfect. And the front line is there for Teddy to do the damage. DRX, they try to end it after this one, but it is not going to happen. 3 kills will go to KDF as they will push.
And that might be the end of the game. Soul Point found for Guangdong, but more importantly, they killed the crucial members. That Realm Orb was just a bait, Valdez.
It definitely was. It certainly baited in DRX into that one. Zeka and King still alive. There is no Baron here. Let's see if they can potentially stop this one as well. That Event Horizon not going to be much, but Fate is going extremely deep. That's a pretty big shield. A relatively sizable one, I'd say. Fate is going to survive. A lot of damage does come out from Zeka, but take a look at that crit. Teddy doesn't give a damn. That's going to be the end of this game. 35 minutes, triple kill for Teddy. He will end the game 7-0-2. And